until we literally got approved and everything. And it was after we got approved that we found out, once she was sending like the final documents to sign, we found out that the security deposit that she was trying to charge us was $13,000. Okay?
Some tears, some stress, but I count my blessings.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Ashley. I'm 22 years old of age, and I make videos in regards to traveling, daily vlogs, and even girl chats like this one here. So for today's video, I wanted to talk about everything is happening for you, not against you. I know this can be a topic or a phrase that we hear a lot, and it can often feel like, okay, but right now it looks as if my circumstances are not happening the way that I wanted to. And so I wanted to come on here and really just give some encouragement. I don't know exactly what you may be going through, but I do know I was in a season of not trusting. I did not have faith. I was relying on my circumstances because it just looked as if things were not going how I wanted to, and it caused me to doubt. And so with learning how to step out of that and really believe, really trust, and say, okay, my circumstances may not be what I want them to be, but I'm believing that something's bigger is happening. With me changing my mindset, everything really did begin to work out for me. And so I wanted to take this time to do this video to just share some things that I did, some even story times of things that I've been through and now coming from. And again, just be an encouragement to know that if I was able to get through some things that it seemed as if it was impossible at the time, so can you, and everything's working out for you, not against you. So without further ado, let's just hop on into today's video. So I really want to talk about the negatives first. I feel like let's just get that out the way, and then we could talk about the positive. So this year, this month alone, I had been facing some things that were very unexpected, and I briefly shared it with you all in my previous videos of some things that I was going through. But again, all of them were just unexpected, and it felt like one thing after another. So starting off with the beginning of this year, I became very burnt out. Again, I briefly talked about this in one of my videos where I shared some burnout tips that you can do to help you undergo that season or overcome that season. So again, a little breakdown for those that maybe didn't watch that video. I just was feeling like I was trying to do everything, you know, be superwoman. Excuse me. And I just put too much on my plate and couldn't handle it. If it wasn't work, it was school, and if it wasn't school, it was YouTube, content creation, me trying to work on my craft. And it felt like I was doing all these things, but I was getting little to no return. It felt like I was knocking out schoolwork just for more schoolwork to be done. I was posting out the content, but I wasn't really seeing a huge improvement with views or likes, but I'm trying so hard to just keep posting the content. And then work, it was like I'm doing all of these different tasks, I'm knocking out things, yet I'm still leaving the day with a task or two not being done, just feeling like I didn't have enough hours in the day to do everything that I needed to do, and it was a bit stressful. Okay, I felt just overwhelmed, I felt burnt out, and I'm like, okay, I'm trying here. Why is things just not working out for me, you know? It's one of those moments where it could feel as if you're doing everything possible, right? Like you're putting your best foot forth, and it just seems like it's still not working in your favor. It was one of those moments with my career life and just the beginning of the year where I had to take a moment back. I had to like reset, and I had to really look at what I was doing and make a plan to stress less and prioritize my time better. So that was one like thing I was dealing with. I was just negative and felt like nothing's working out for me. Then, which is more so this month, I found out that, well, I didn't find out, I kind of already knew. I knew that I would be moving, right? I knew that the lease was coming up in April. And if you don't know, I do have a roommate. So we knew that the lease was coming up in April. And the beginning of this year, we had mentioned doing another place together. Not the same place, because we wanted more amenities and this place just didn't have a lot. So we knew that we wanted to move anyways out of this apartment complex, but we were agreeing that we were going to move in together again. We both liked our dynamic as roommates, both clean freaks, you know, so everything was always clean, nice, tidy. We respected our space, communicated well, things like that. So we didn't see an issue with being roommates again, and why not save money? However, all was planned to go that way until we were thinking about, well, we weren't really thinking about, we were in the process of getting a house together. And we were doing this because we were looking at prices and we're just, you know, looking at the market. And the price we would have spent for like an apartment together, we were like, you know what, we might as well do a house. We'll have an extra bedroom, you know, more space. And we fell in love with the house that we went and viewed and saw. So we're like, you know what, let's do this. And we talked to the realtor. She was like, yep, this is what you're gonna need to do. We put down the holding fee, application fee, we did everything. And everything was looking good until we literally got approved and everything. And it was after we got approved that we found out, once she was sending like the final documents to sign, we found out that the security deposit that she was trying to charge us was $13,000, okay? And you know, I don't want to go into like a bunch of finances and stuff like that, or try to be all, you know, personal, but it was $13,000. So I'm gonna share that. I know some people are like, no, you shouldn't share certain things, but I'm gonna share that for the sake of this video and just because like it's relatable. So yeah, we were both like ready to go, ready to get the house, ready to sign. Literally, again, got approved, was on the last stages before getting the keys pretty much, until we saw that document and we were like, you know, had to like, woof, wipe the eyes, like, are we seeing this correctly? And she was like, yeah, well, we can't control how much the security deposit is. It pretty much just goes off of like credit history. Now, you know, I will be real with you, I didn't know much about credit until I joined the Air Force when I was 19 years old. Well, 18, turning 19. So, you know, I did start my credit journey later in life, you know, so as far as credit time goes, it's not like the longest compared to someone that maybe started when they were like 16 or 17. But I still have good credit, you know what I mean? I'm thankful that even though I maybe started my credit history later in life, I was able to meet with some good people financially that set me up for success. And so like me and my roommate both have good credit, you know, we haven't had any late fees. We always paid our bills on time, if not early, you know. So it's like, okay, yeah, maybe the credit history and the fact that, you know, I don't know, we're both young or something is what they were trying to say as this high security deposit. But it's just like, for all of that, we can just go and get our house ourselves, put that down for our house ourselves, because we were renting, we weren't buying this house out, we were renting, okay? So it's like, so we wind up being like, okay, redirection, because that's not gonna work, we're not paying that. So then we were still looking, still going to the route of like, we're gonna move in together, we're gonna do this. And a lot had happened. We were both on work trips, we were both dealing with work and life. The next thing you know, the month of April was here, and we found a place and we were like, okay, this seems like, you know, a good place, we're in crunch time, let's do it. And my roommate, she had, you know, to come to the truth with herself, and she realized, you know, I actually don't want to be roommates. And at first, hearing this news was like, you know what I mean? Like, woof, stab in the heart. Because of the time crunch, really. It didn't feel such as a stab in the heart because I thought like she didn't, you know, want to be my friend anymore or none of those things. It really just felt like a stab in the heart because of the time crunch. And I'm a person where like I like to have things ahead of time. Okay, we was already in a crunch and now it's like a really crunch. And my like OCD organizer person in me was like, what's going on? So then I had to deal with that and I was like, okay. And so that was the thing. And now it's like, okay, now I have to find an apartment like in crunch time. Our lease is literally up this month and I'm just finding out this information because the house didn't go through. Now she's saying that she doesn't want to go through with being roommates anymore. And so now I have to like go and find an apartment, and not only find an apartment, but you know, we were like dividing everything, you know, a security deposit. If it was like $2,000, we would be splitting it so that it would be less. And so now it's like, okay, well, that security deposit now I'm going to pay for. I'm going to be having to talk to people. Like now it's like just on me. And so that was like, okay, what's going on? Because it's like everything was looking good, and now it's like one thing after another, just like a storm. So then I wind up applying, and so we actually had applied for a place, but she realized that she didn't want to be roommates. So then it was like an application fee as well, that like you just lost that money. So I was like, okay, you know what, since we already applied, I'm just gonna see if I can like do my own thing and, you know, just stay with the apartment, because like we already paid that like application fee and everything like that. And then so me trying to be like, yeah, she doesn't want to do it anymore, but can I still do it? That was a process because it felt like it was just one thing after another, where they were like, oh, we need this and I'm providing this, and then it was just like something else. So now it's okay, I'm still trying to figure that out, right? So that's like another negative. And then the third negative cycle that I just felt like was happening in my life, which was just like one thing after another, was church. The beginning of the year, like I was kind of like dabbing in and out of churches, but I had prayed to God and I was like, God, you know, I want a church group, you know, more than just like a place to say, this is where I go to church every Sunday, but to be in community amongst other spiritual people, community, you know, people that I can pray with, I can talk about certain things, I can feel welcome, I can feel connected. And so I was like, you know, looking at different churches, and it just felt like every church I was going to, they maybe had something, but they was lacking something else. And it just felt like I'm wanting spiritual communities around me, and it's just not clicking. To the point where I had stopped going to church and I just started doing church with myself. I just started having my own Sunday services in my apartment. I would just put praise and worship on, I would watch a sermon, and that was my thing. But I was still feeling so lonely in a sense because I wanted that spiritual community. You know, I love my relationship with God, and I feel like, you know, having a relationship with God is first and foremost important than just a relationship with the church. But it's also important to have communities. It does matter, and you know, it makes sense for wanting one. So those are like the main negative circles I can really pinpoint that was happening in my life this year. You know what I mean? We're only in April. This year that was happening, and some of it was literally this month, April. That was just like one thing after another, and I'm just like, what is really going on? So now that we got all the negative out, we're done with the negative talk. Let's talk about how did these things improve in the positive side. So number one, I had to believe that I couldn't live in doubt. I couldn't live in fear. I couldn't live thinking, why is all these things happening to me? Why is it like I'm trying, and I just keep getting pushed back? I had to let that mentality go. And I started speaking affirmations to myself every single morning, like without fail. And some of these affirmations looked like they were different, but I started to go on TikTok. I know some people may be like, TikTok, but listen, TikTok has a lot of good gems, okay? And so they have like all these different affirmation videos about how, you know, believe that things that you want is already yours. And affirmations about trusting the process, affirmations that like you are enough, just a lot of different affirmation videos that you can just look at. And I would put those affirmation videos on every single morning as I'm getting ready for work, as I'm getting ready for my day. And I would say them out loud, I say them in my head, and I would just, you know, some that I would say are like, everything's working out for me. Everything that is meant to be mine will be mine. I do not stress because I know that everything's flowing for me. I live in the present moment, not my future, not my past, but in this present moment. You know, those are just some of them, but I would say a good bit in that mantra of just knowing that everything's working out for me. I'm enough, I'm safe, and God has me most importantly. And I know this may feel cliche as well, but it's really true. The number one thing that you can do to change your surroundings, to change your reality, it starts with your mind. I cannot say this enough. It starts with your mind. If you're constantly speaking negative things over yourself, if you're constantly living in a lack mindset, nothing good happens for me. Nothing is working out for me. Oh my gosh, it just feels like no one is on my side. If you're constantly saying these things, you're constantly believing these things, 9 out of 10 times, that's going to be your reality. But what if you take that same faith, that same energy you're pouring into those things, right? It's just negative faith, it's negative energy. What if you then take that and pour it into positive? It's the same level of energy that you were using, but instead of pouring into the negative side of things, you're pouring into the positive side of things. So again, changing those narratives in your head, changing those limited beliefs and saying, you know what? Things are working out for me even when I don't know how. Things are working out for me even when my circumstances are not lining up with what I thought they should. Again, with what I thought they should. Because a lot of times things are happening for us that we just can't see, but it's bigger and better than we could have ever imagined. So that was number one. I changed my mindset. I had to let go of that limited belief that I didn't deserve good things and my life was just a whoa, whoa, whoa movie in a sense. So then, after I started to believe that and I started to speak it, I started to see those changes. So number one, going back to my whole work life, career, right? I mentioned how I felt like I was doing everything possible and was not seeing any rewards, anything. Well, let me break it down to you of how that changed. So for work-wise, I wound up like being shown appreciation for it. Pretty much I received this like reward. It's like I guess you could say like a reward at work, and I received appreciation. Now it could seem like it's just little things, but you know, honestly, little things make sense. Just being told from like my leadership and higher up, like, we see you, we see the work that you're doing, it does not go unnoticed, and because of your hard work, here's, you know, a reward for it. So it's kind of difficult to explain because if you're not in the military too, you may not understand like certain things. But in the military, like, if you're doing good things, like, you can get rewards for it. It could be a decoration, it could be like an annual, quarter award. It's like different things like that, but you get recognized for your hard work. And so just being shown and like giving that appreciation just was like, okay, actually, like, people see your hard work. It doesn't go unnoticed, even though like you feel that pressure, like it does, people see it. Okay, motorcycle, keep going. Not them getting louder. I feel like they got louder. Don't disrespect me in my video. Anyways, so that was like one thing with work. Then YouTube, I mentioned how, like, you know, in one of my videos that I was talking about burnout, I was like, but you know what? I'm going to find a balance that works good for me, and I'm gonna post the content. I'm gonna post content that I love. I'm gonna post content that I'm excited about, and even if I get one like, I'm still gonna post it because I'd rather be consistent and continuously doing what I love than to stop. So I just started posting the content, and literally that video itself about burnout received, I think it was like 100 or something views. And for me and my channel, that was a lot of views because I usually get like 40 to 30 views on my videos because I am a upcoming YouTuber. So to receive like, I think that video almost had like 200 views was like, what? Okay. Then my recent video received literally over 900 views. Me and my mom both saw that and was like, what? And the self-sabotage person that once lived in me would think to herself like, that's not enough, you need to focus on the next milestone, right? And I had to say, no, like, you're only in competition with yourself. You're not in competition with anyone else but yourself. And you should celebrate yourself. Celebrate your wins, no matter how small or how big they are, celebrate them. And me receiving 900 views on a video within 1 week was a lot. I mean, if you go through my videos, you will see that that's like the highest views on my channel, okay? And I think the highest I received was my parrot video, which was like 300 views. So look at the difference, 300 views versus 900 views, okay? That is a big chunk, and you, again, have to only be in competition with yourself, not with anybody else. So as I started speaking and believe that good things were happening for me, they literally were. Moving on into the second thing I'm talking about, which was the whole apartment. Just chaoticness. Something that was can I talk? Can I speak? Something that was revealed to me was rejection is redirecting you for a bigger blessing. And while I did fall in love with this house. I'm not gonna say I fell in love with this house. I did like the house, right? I did like the house because it was more of like a neighborhood setting, you know, so I didn't have to worry about like being in the really like city life, dealing with motorcycles and like just the craziness of sometimes like the city could be, but we were still close to everything. But it was in a more like neighborhood setting. It was a house, you know, so they had like downstairs, I could just walk downstairs. The kitchen was really nice. It was a nice cozy vibe. You know, I did like things about the house. However, I was settling. If I'm being honest, I was settling because my roommate had gave me the bigger room for this apartment. And so I was like, you know, fair is fair. I'm gonna give her the master bedroom in the house because she gave me the bigger bedroom, you know, in our apartment. She didn't like make a fuss about it. She didn't say anything. She was like, you can have the bigger bedroom. Like, I give it to you. So again, I was like, you know what, I will give her the master bedroom. And while this isn't like a super big thing, but it matters, and because, you know, it's perspective. And with the house, it would have been a downgrade for me in the sense of like, I wouldn't have been getting as much closet space as I am getting at this place. Like, it was much smaller. And this closet space is like medium size. I wouldn't say it's super small, but it's like medium size. And that closet was much smaller. Another like side thing, again, not super big, but the bathroom wasn't in the room. It was like across the hall. And the room was smaller. I didn't have as much natural lighting as in this room. And we wouldn't be getting any like amenities because it was a house. So, you know, you wouldn't have like a yoga studio or a gym or a pool or, you know, any of those things. You wouldn't have any of those things because it, again, was a house. We did have a garage, so we were thinking about making that space into like a home, a gym. But now you're having to, you know, pay for those items on top of paying for rent. And with all of those different like cons that could seem small but was still big, I was also going to be paying more rent there than I'm paying here. Yet it would have been a downgrade for me. Like, again, I my room size was going to be much smaller. My closet size would be much smaller. Wouldn't have this nice natural lighting, and there will be like no amenities. We did, like I said again, have a garage, and we did have like a patio. So we were, going to make that like into like a morning space and things like that. But ultimately, looking at everything would have been a downgrade for me. My roommate, it would have been an upgrade for her, because she was in a much smaller room here, and that house, she would have had her own like bathroom in the room. Her closet space was huge in the master bedroom. Nice bedroom, bigger than the one that she's in right now. So like for her, it would have been a lot better. But I was willing to compromise at the time, because I did like things about the house, like the kitchen and the cozy feel of it, and also have an extra bedroom where like you could turn out to an office space or guest space for other people to come, and the quietness of things. So when we like received the whole security deposit thing, I was like, what? But I realized in my heart that I didn't really want it, and God had to like let that happen, because I would have signed a lease, I would have went into that, and then I wouldn't have been really happy, because I would have been like, I'm paying more rent here, like not just like a little $100 here. I was gonna be paying more, like a good amount more. So I'm paying like twice the amount of money I was paying in my other place, and I'm downgrading, like in a sense, if you know what I mean. And so I was like, you know what? I'm thankful God did that. And while yes, I would have wanted to, yes, at the time I wanted to move in with my current roommate and my closest friend. After we had our talk and we sat down, I realized that it was the best thing that could have ever happened for us to make this move alone than together. Because my roommate, she's in a different chapter of life, a chapter of healing, a chapter of self-growth, and she's one of my closest friends besides just roommate. This isn't like a stranger, you know what I mean, where it was like we never really knew each other, we just became roommates for the sake of saving money. No, this is someone that like literally was my closest friend before we moved in, and it still is. And with talking to her and having the space and the relationship we do, we're able to realize that if we moved in together, yes, we potentially could be saving more money than by ourselves, but we wouldn't be as happy, and it could have ruined our friendship, because she is longing for aloneness. She's longing for a space where, in the morning you don't have to worry about, oh, my roommate's up cooking, whatever, you know what I mean? It's in a space that is yours, any distractions. And again, while this 1 year of living together has been phenomenal, I cannot complain at all. We respect each other's space, we kept things clean, we are neat freaks. It was never like dirt or anything like that. But at the same time, it's little things that you don't realize while you have a roommate that you wouldn't experience while you're being alone. And she had lived alone before, so again, this is what she needed, and I believe it's what I need, because I had never like personally lived alone. Because while I was like living in California for a while now, I was in a dorm, so I was like living by myself, but this would be like my first technical apartment, and it was with the roommate. So this new chapter is a better chapter. And again, I can understand the time when things doesn't go the way you thought or hoped for. You could be like, what the freak is going on? But take a moment and just think that thought. Rejection is redirecting you for a greater blessing. And the truth is, I needed that to happen. I needed the house to go the way it did. I needed her to tell me that she wants to be in the space by herself, and I needed to have that talk with her, talk about my triggers, her triggers, what would be best for us moving forward. And now I'm in a space where I can have my own place, I can decorate how I want to, I can live freely. And like, again, we didn't have any bad blood, but it's different when you're by yourself versus a roommate. And so like, I needed that to happen to walk into where I'm walking into. And I know this next chapter of my life, It's going to be a good one because I'm going to be learning more about myself, rediscovering, just seeing different things and not feeling like I have to rely on someone else. So yeah, and then my church, when I went to one church, I like was bold, and they had announcements, and they were like, oh, one way to really, you know, grow closer in different aspects is through community groups. And I was like, yes, I've been dying to get into community groups. It feel like forever. And they were like, these are some options we have for community groups in our church, and one of them was the youth group. And so I was like, you know, I'll just sign up and see what happens. So I had signed up, and then I wound up going on a work trip, so like I had forgot I even signed up. And then the youth like group leader, she reached out to me and she was like, hi, this is Ashley. And I was like, yes, this is. And she was like, we seen that you signed up wanting to work with the youth. Are you still interested? And I was like, yeah, I am still interested, because I was thinking to myself, like, if God brought this into my life at this timing, it must be meant. So I was like, yeah, I'm so interested, because I had forgot about it. And I was just like going on about my life, you know what I mean? Still believing like I'm gonna get in a spiritual group, I'm gonna get in communities, you know, when the timing is right. So she got in contact with me, and then she's like, okay, well, when you come back from your trip, I would love to meet and talk. You know, there is a background check that has to be done, and here's some, you know, paperwork. But once everything goes through, I would love to meet with you after church, and, you know, just talk. And I was like, yeah, I'll definitely do that once I get back, and things like that. So I did the paperwork, all of that, and then not last Sunday, the Sunday before, I talked to her and we met, and oh my gosh, just such a beautiful soul, such beautiful people. And she's like, oh my gosh, Ashley, you're so beautiful, you're so bright, I can't wait for you to work with the kids, and I know like you'll be a good help. And I was like, thank you, I appreciate that. And then last Sunday, which was Easter, it was my first day working with 1st through 5th graders, okay? So I'll be doing every second Sunday 1st to 5th graders. And while that like age, you could be like, girl, what? It was not bad at all, you know what I mean? They're kind of like on their own, doing, you know what to do. And it was nice to just help out and be a service, you know what I mean? To just like say, God, use me in whatever way you can. If it's in the youth department, if it's, you know, if you could sing, you know, different things, really just asking God to use you to be a help in his ministries. And so it just felt so good, because I was just sitting there like, wow, I was praying for communities, and now like I'm working in the youth program. And then today at church, they like do this thing where I don't know how frequent it is, but they were doing it today. And so pretty much like all new members, or, you know, if you've been going there a while but want to stay, you can stay after church and hear about their mission, hear about their goals, ask questions. They had like beverages and refreshments, stuff like that. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna stay. And so I did, and it was a really good meeting. Again, they talked about their mission as a church, they talked about their goals, really aligning with one purpose, which is God, and saying, you know, we invite and we accept all, because at the end of the day, we're here to do God's work, which is love, and that is what we do. And even one person had asked, because they do a lot of like volunteer work, so they go like feed the homeless. I think it's like every 2 Saturdays out of the month, they go feed the homeless, they go work in shelters, and they do a lot of like volunteer work, and they encourage people to sign up and help. So one person that was at the meeting, he asked like, if you're still not sure like what, you know, what you identify as in regards to faith, can you still participate, can you still help out in these groups? And they immediately responded like, yes, absolutely. You know, we understand that like sometimes it takes time to understand, you know, where do you all fit in everything. And our main goal with, you know, our volunteer service is to help others. It doesn't matter what faith you identify as long as we are all coming together and helping one another. The person that's over like the volunteer groups, he said, you know, I work with people from a lot of different faith groups, like Buddha, what else did he say? Muslim, etc. But he said at the end of the day, it didn't matter what faith, religion we identified as, we believed in, because we're all coming together to serve others. We're all coming together at the end to help other people, and that's what the mission is. And I think that is just so important, because like it is sad and it's unfortunate that most people, when they think about church, or when you tell them, oh yeah, I'm a Christian, I go to church, they're like, oh, you must be like, think that you're holier than thou. People have experienced a lot of hurt from the church, where they felt like, either they couldn't go because they had to fit this certain persona and fit this certain thing, or they wouldn't be accepted. And once again, it's unfortunate that they felt that way. And a lot of different churches are feeling like they weren't enough. They couldn't be accepted. They couldn't be loved because of their past, or because of where they currently are, or how they identify. Just so many things that a lot of people have been hurt when it comes to the church, and so they just haven't gone back. But it feels good to be in a church that says we welcome all. As long as you're not a hurt to as long as you're not harming yourself or other people, of course, like common sense things, we welcome all. And here, we strive for diversity, we strive for just loving people, and we strive for helping people. Based on the meeting, there are 3 main missions, which is very important to me. Is one, loving all people. I am a Christian, and that is how I identify, but I love everybody. I don't care what faith you believe in, I don't care how you identify, I don't care what your past look like, as long as you're not a harm to yourself or to other people, I accept all, I love all. Like, that's just one thing right there. I'm not gonna judge anyone, because God knows I am not perfect myself, okay? So that's just like me. And so being in a church where I can feel very welcome, and that just being their mission, is something I identify with a lot. To helping others, that is something that is like, if you know anything about me, that's like one of my top missions. How can I help other people? How can I serve? How can I be a blessing if God is making me a blessing? So to be a part of a church that are constantly like feeding the homeless, going to different programs, helping others, and inviting other people to come out and help, that is important to me. And then thirdly, which could have been number 1, but a church that always aligns their mission with God and God foremost. Not, this message of like what they think they should do, because again, unfortunately, sometimes, not everyone in the church, is nice. Not everyone in the church is loving, and they can make it seem like they're doing God's work, but it's not. It's fake. They're using Bible verses to manipulate, and I don't have time for the drama and all that stuff. So it's good to be in a church that overall brings it back to God no matter what. The purpose is God. How can we do God's work? How can we be a reflection of God, most importantly? And this can be like very triggering to some people. People can have a lot of different opinions about it, and guess what? I am here for it. Discuss. But that's just where I stand when it comes to what I look for in a church home. And I was thankful enough that I found that. I found, my spiritual group, and today they were just like, oh, I love your outfit, I love your sweater, I love your dress, you're so radiant. Everyone was just so nice, everyone was so welcoming, and I just, I needed that confirmation. And so to wrap this video up, because I know it's a long one, those are just some personal stories of my life where it felt like I was going through the waters, and then the sun came out. And so I want to just take a moment, and I want to encourage you to, number 1, if you haven't already, change your mindset. I know this could seem cliche, and I know it's easier said than done, but start off with morning affirmation. Start off right when you wake up in the morning. Instead of worrying about what's on your to-do list, what you need to get accomplished, what you need to do, focus in on saying, today is going to be a good day. I'm exactly where I need to be. Everything's working out for me. Just say those simple things first thing in the morning. Everything is working out for me. I'm exactly where I need to be. I promise you, you will start seeing changes. And secondly, with this encouragement, take my personal stories, if you will, or maybe even take places that you once were that you're not, because I guarantee you that if you're still here on this earth, there's so much purpose. And there's moments where you could have thought you weren't going to get out of situations, you didn't know how, and God got you out of it. So continue to be prayed up and know that if God did it before, he'll do it again. And if you don't believe in God, you know, think about just where you were once in life and where you are now. And I encourage you to really believe and to know that everything's working out for you. Sometimes the redirection or the rejection can feel very, you know, challenging and negative. Sometimes it can feel as if you're trying everything and it's just not working out. But I want to encourage you that it will. And that one quote that I recently read, and I'm in this video with this, is that it said, everything will work out for your best in the end. And if it's not the best yet, it's not the end. And so be encouraged in that, to know the best is coming for you, because it will work out for you in the end. If it has not, it's not the end, okay? So be encouraged. I hope this video helped at least one person. Hope it made sense as always. And feel free to comment, like, subscribe. Let me know what other videos you would love to hear and see from me. What are your opinions? And until next time.